advocate for solo female travel, and she is interested in sharing her tips and tricks from all of her years of exploring over 20 countries and 40 US states. Oh, that's a lot. And then her hope is really to make travel feel more accessible by sharing her tips, advice, and inspiration. So hopefully y'all are hungry and brought a big appetite. Emily, I will let you take it on over from here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Laura. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen with you all. Okay, can everyone see that okay? Yes. All right, good. Well, first off, I just want to thank Laura and the Nomadic Network for having me do this presentation. And thank you so much to all of you for coming out on your Tuesday night or whatever time it is for you to learn a little bit more about food. So I hope you all enjoy, and we'll get started. So I just wanted to preface this presentation by just acknowledging my personal food privilege. I have thankfully and gratefully have never had to go hungry, but I know that that is not the case in many parts of the world. So I just wanted to put a little resource here. I found an article that just listed some great sites where you can donate or learn more about what's going on to combat hunger around the world. So if you have any of yours that you like or any places that you donate to, please add them in the chat. So again, a little introduction. My name's Emily. I'm a travel lover and foodie. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm in Western Mass right now, so opposite of Boston. I have explored over 20 countries. I'm at 22 right now, and I just hit my 45th state a couple weeks ago. That was Oregon, so that was really fun. My niche is kind of solo female traveler on a budget. So that's what I do a lot of my posts and social media on. I am currently an epidemiologist right now. I am actually leaving my job on Friday. It is my last day. I have been dreaming about traveling full time for many years, and it is finally happening. So I've had a crazy week, so just bear with me for this presentation. So how did I start getting into this? Well, I went to Italy in 2017. I was there for about a month. I was all the way down in Sicily for 2.5 weeks on a scholarship heritage trip. And I went all the way up to Venice in the north. And I really only had 2 memorable meals, which I feel like is very sad. And I was just so confused. I was like, I'm going to Italy. Like every place is going to be amazing. I'm just going to have the most incredible food. And it wasn't the case for me. So I realized it really is something that you need to plan on and research on in order to get those good meals. These are just some fun pictures of me eating various places, Philly, Cincinnati. That was my last trip to Portland. So why is food important when you travel? Why do you want to eat local, traditional foods, and what will you gain? So understanding and appreciation for a region's customs and history. So you could go into a restaurant and you could eat a meal that has been passed down from generations to generations. You learn so much more about, what this food is all about, why they eat the things that they do. And that kind of ties into their regional ingredients, like what grows there, what do they use, and what different parts of the year, and then unique foods. I have traveled some places and I have learned about foods I have never even heard about before. A cultural experience. So you're going to get an amazing cultural experience eating these foods that you won't be able to experience anywhere else. It's also a great way to connect with locals if you're eating the local food or trying to eat the local food. And hopefully you are supporting some small businesses and locals in that way as well. There's just some fun pizza pictures. I love pizza. I'm a pizza gal all the way. So All right, so now you know why food is important and you want to have great meals when you travel. What are your next steps? First off is you have to make it a priority. So what this means is you have to do your research, you have to learn from experts, talk to locals, and know your foodie type. All right, foodie type. This is very scientific and completely made up by myself. So I created 4 different foodie types. If you have another that you want to add, please put it in the chat. So experience foodie. You want to eat at amazing locations where you can have gorgeous views. You want to do food tours and cooking classes, and you want to sip wine out of baby bottles in Paris. You don't really care if the wine is crap. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great experience. Insta foodie. What is that? Well, we'll go to the next slide. I forgot I had them broken up. Again, fun experiences. You want to have you want to do unique things. You want to go on. This was a dining boat tour that I went on. So the food wasn't great, but it was a really, really cool experience. I would definitely do it again. There we go. Insta foodie. So the food, you want the food to be Insta worthy. That means the presentation, you want it to be gorgeous. You want to be able to put it on social media. You just want it to be fun and exciting and different. All right. Taste foodie. So you do not care what the food looks like. You don't really care if it's a hole in the wall place. You just want it to taste good. You don't care what it looks like. You don't really care about anything else. You just want it to be yummy. And Michelin foodie. So you want the best of the best. You want a nice presentation. You probably don't care too much about costs. You're willing to spend what you want to spend on food. You just want a great experience, a great meal that you won't be able to get anywhere else in the world. Okay, so how do you find your foodie experience? So what you would like to do is do your pre-trip research. So what I like to do first is research local dishes. So what is going to be known to the place? Do they have something unique? Do they have something that everybody should try when you go to that location? Talk with your community. I'll get a little bit more into this, but talk with people around you, talk with people you know and you trust, and then use apps. Okay, so these are just some fun breakfast pictures that are things that you need to try when you go to various locations. So it was Ireland down south, and that one was Denmark. Okay, so your community. First thing you want to do is talk to your community. So this can be people that you know personally or people that you feel like you know on the internet or people you interact with virtually. So you're going to ask best food in Portland. What's the best food you had? What did you love? What should I try? So the first place you want to go is probably friends and family because you trust them, you know what they like, you know their style. It will be a great starting point to know what they had and what you should try. The next place I like to go is Facebook pages. So I'm in the Facebook page Girls Love Travel. It's a great place. You can just quickly do a Google search like best restaurants or best breakfast spots in XYZ, and there'll be a ton of information that pops up. And then you know that even though you don't know those people personally, you know that they have this, they're like-minded and they're actually real people writing these recommendations. So then I like to go to YouTube. If you have any YouTube people that you like, Mark Wines, I don't know if you all know him. He has about 8 million followers on YouTube and he's amazing. He tries anything and everything. And it's just a great way to see some more of those hidden gems. Bloggers like Nomadic Matt. This is a great way to find I use Pinterest, so it's a great way to find a very comprehensive list of places that you should go to. And again, you can just type in Pinterest top restaurants in this place, Portland foodie recommendation. Anything like that is just something fun. You can see the food, you know what's going on, you kind of know who's recommending it and if you trust them or not. Okay, and then another great resource is our apps. So TripAdvisor, Yelp, and OpenTable. And again, we'll go into these a little bit more. So this is the TripAdvisor app. So this is going to be a great place to go. It's going to have those touristy traps, but things that you probably should try. And it will also have some of those hidden gems. I don't know if this was 100% true, but I have heard that it's really hard for those mom and pop shops to really show up on the main page of TripAdvisor because you have to pay a lot of money. So just keep that in mind. So I really like that they have various filter options that you can choose from. So you can see over on the left, you can choose breakfast, lunch, dinner, cheap eats, mid-range, fine dining, and cuisine. And then they also have filter options for vegetarian, vegans, kosher, good for families, neighborhood. So it's a great place to just go and be able to kind of filter out all of the things that you're not looking for or the things that you're looking for. I also love that you can see price points and you can read reviews. So I love reading reviews. It does take a lot of time sometimes, but it's just nice to see if people really enjoyed it and what they got at that restaurant. All right, and then we have Yelp. So it's somewhat similar to TripAdvisor, but it's another great resource for you to use. It also has a ton of filter options. So as you can see at the top right there, it has all of your price points. So you can click on price point, delivery, takeout, features, neighborhoods. These are all of the main features that it has. So anything from dogs liked by 40 something, hot and new, proof of vaccination required. So all of that is going to be a great place for you to start. Okay. And this is Open Table. So if you are looking at places that you think you will need a reservation, Open Table is a great place to go. You'll be able to do your reservations right on there. So this is probably going to be a case for like a Michelin star restaurant, but it might be even the case for like a smaller restaurant that doesn't have a lot of tables. So it's just nice to check on here. A lot of restaurants are just going right through Open Table now instead of having you call them. So you can go on Open Table. As you can see right here, you can put in the dates, time, how many people are going. Also look at price points, cuisine. And what I really like on here is that they have minority owned and operated. So that's something that you can choose as well if that's something important to you that you want to support. Okay, so these are apps for experiences. So if you are an experienced foodie or you are experienced foodie sometimes, then these would be great apps for you. So Airbnb is going to be a great place for if you want to look at food tours or food classes. So they are not just for finding apartments and things like that. They are also great for experiences. Get your guide. So this will be great to find a more personal food guide, or they also have a ton of other food options on there. They also will have the food tours and classes as such. And then with locals. So this is a site that allows you to cook with locals either in person or even virtually right now. And that's a great way to know that you're getting a local guide and you're going to be cooking some local dishes. All right, these are just some fun food items I like to have. This was a seafood plate that I had in Sicily, and then a yummy ramen bowl. Okay, and then here are some apps if you have dietary restrictions. I personally do not have any dietary restrictions, so I got these references from friends and family that do. Happy Cow, everybody loves Happy Cow. So this is for vegan and vegetarian options. They also will have those recommendations on there, the reviews, all of that good stuff. Everybody loves Happy Cow. So if that's something that you need, then definitely download that. Find Me Gluten Free. So this is a great app for gluten free options. They have a bunch of those all over the world on there. They're growing every single day. Google Translate. So this is going to be great if you have an allergy or another dietary restriction. So this can be tricky if obviously there is a language barrier. So it's great if you can look up those words right away and you can tell your waiter the things that you aren't able to eat. And then they also have a photo option for the menu. So that's great. You can just take a photo of the menu on Google Translate and it will translate all of that right for you. So you don't have to type in every single word on the menu. And then just keep in mind that the locals may not always understand what you can and can't eat. Vegetarian options are going to be different everywhere. So sometimes that will include like a fish sauce or like a chicken broth. So always make sure you are Googling like what that really means in that region and make sure you are telling your waiter the things that you can't have. So if you say vegetarian, but I can't have fish sauce, I can't have a chicken broth. So just keep that in mind. All right, organization. So I know I just gave you a ton of places to go. How do you keep these organized? I personally do this just on the go. I love the Notes app on my phone. It is my best friend. So I will just open up a new Notes app and I will put, I am going to New Orleans. And then anytime I'm looking through YouTube, I'm looking at blogs, I'm looking through TripAdvisor, I add all of the places that are interest to me. I will also organize my Pinterest pins on a Pinterest board. So right when I find something, if I don't have time right away to write everything down, I will pin that to its own board. I'll say food in New Orleans and I will pin that right there. Instagram save folders. I love always looking at even restaurants that are recommended on TripAdvisor, Yelp, um, Pinterest, on blogs. I always like to also look at those on Instagram to see, is there a certain meal that like everybody's looking at? So you can actually go to that restaurant's Instagram page and you can go to their tagged and you can see like these are real people that have ate at this restaurant. This is what everybody is eating. This is what everybody likes. And then you can save those posts to a folder on there. Say that you saw, oh, wow, this dish looks amazing. I'm going to save it, put it in my folder, title it New Orleans food. And then you can also look at locations on there too. And then I'm very extra on this. I also like to put things in Google Maps. You can add a pin. So any of those restaurants that you have in your notes app or in your Instagram save, you can also put those in Google Maps and it will add a pin into the map so that you can see, oh, all these restaurants are congested over here. All these restaurants are congested over here. Maybe I want to do breakfast at this place and this place. They're right in that area. Maybe we can do those together, or maybe I'll have to go here, go here. It's just a great way to kind of like organize all of your food goals and then see what you should be doing in a day, kind of plan your itinerary around that. All right, during the trip. So that was all of your pre-trip research. Now you are at your location. You're wondering, oh wait, let's figure out a little, I'm here now. Like, what are people eating? What are people doing? So the best people to ask your hosts, your hotel staff, your hostel staff. They will know the best places to go. And then talk to locals. Ask where they eat. So everybody always asks locals, "Oh, what's the best place to go?" They're going to give you the tourist answer. They're going to give you what they think everybody's going to. You have to ask, where do you like to eat? What do you like to do? And they're always very thrown off. Ever since I learned this, they're very thrown off. They're like, where I eat? What? So ask them what they do. Restaurant staff, don't just ask, oh, what's the best dish? Because again, they're just going to give you generally the best dish. Ask what their regulars eat. Do they have regulars? If they're kind of thrown off that question, maybe that's a red flag. Who knows? What do their regular eat? What is everybody getting? What do people like that go there all the time? And then follow a local. I actually have done this. I will have a little story, but this is a great way. If you see someone that generally looks like a local, you can kind of follow them and see, oh, where they're going. Are they finding hidden gems? You can find markets. You can find shops. Sometimes you will stumble upon an amazing place. So I was in Italy with my family. Like I said, I only had 2 memorable meals. One was in Sicily, one was in Venice, and this was definitely one of them. We were just like, we don't really know where to go. And we did pretty much just follow a local, and we were near the Rialto. We went a few streets over, and sometimes that is enough to find those smaller locations. Obviously, if you're eating right on the canal, that's, you might have those tourist traps there. So we did end up following a local. We ended up finding this really adorable restaurant, and we ordered our primi, which is our pasta, and then my mom wanted to order a secondi, so your second dish, and she wanted a fish. And it didn't come out for 2 hours. So we were joking that they actually went out and they went fishing right there. They got the fish and they cooked it. And then, if anyone's vegan or vegetarian, you might not want to look at this picture, and then this is what they brought out. So it was actually like they just went fishing, plopped the fish right on there, cooked it. So we were somewhat full at this point. And if you know Europe, they don't really do takeaways like we do in the United States. So we had a bit of a rough time eating this, but it was amazing. And I would definitely highly recommend following a local if you're doing it respectfully and not in a stalkerish way. Okay, street food. So some places street food is very much the norm. I know some people are scared off of street food. I understand why. It's definitely safer in some countries versus others. But I definitely think it is a great way to eat the best food if that is something that the country is known for. So, some little tips, try to notice if locals are at that stand or stall, and then see if they're constantly cooking. So that's going to be something that's going to be one, that a lot of people are going there, and then two, it's going to reduce those foodborne illnesses. If they're constantly cooking, they're cooking it, they're putting it out, they're cooking it, they're putting it out. Food that's just sitting there, it's not going to be a great choice. And then sadly, if there's a lot of like trash and things on the ground, this is more in like South America, Southeast Asia, then that usually means it's a place that a lot of people like as well. So this is just some recent street food that I had. This was in Barcelona, and this one, Portland is known for their food carts. So I had that in Portland. Both were amazing. All right, a little bit more of your street food tips. So this is going to obviously increase waste because they are giving you, single-use plastic and things like that. So it would be nice if you can bring your own utensils or containers if you can, just something to keep in mind to reduce your waste. And then if you do get sick, which hopefully you do not, bring things like Imodium, charcoal, Pepto, and then obviously stay hydrated and rest. Ask your doctor about all of these things. I'm not a doctor, so just be prepared because it might happen. Just weigh your pros and cons. All right, here are some red flags. These are things that just I have noticed and other people I know have noticed. These are not like set in stone, so just keep them in mind, but they're not always going to be red flags in every single case. So the first one, if you are not in an English-speaking country and the menu is only in English, this might be a red flag that they're really catering to tourists. Tourist hours. So are they open during siesta? Are they opening at 4 p.m. when their dinner is usually at 8 p.m.? again, just something to think about because it's probably not going to be a local spot where everybody is going. People outside coaxing you in. I'm sure we have all had this experience once or twice. You have those people outside the restaurants, you're just passing by and they're like, oh, come in, like we have amazing food, like we have free bread, we have this and that, and free drinks, and little bit of a red flag right there. Appreciate their hustle, but maybe not the best option. Um, right near a tourist attraction. Obviously, a lot of people are going to do this. You are touring the Colosseum for 4 hours. You went on this big trek, like you just want to eat right when you get out of that attraction. You're hungry, you just want to go. So I know it's very, very tempting, but usually those aren't the best places to go to. If you are an experienced foodie and you want to have an amazing cocktail or coffee right next to the Colosseum, obviously do that. Just know it might not be the most amazing cocktail or coffee you've ever had. Um, overly adorable. So this one, it's definitely not always going to be the case, but I noticed this a lot when I was in Italy and Greece, is that they really try to um, make the place look really nice. It was like they were trying a little bit too hard. They had all of those little string lights, they had the lovely music playing, they had all these plants and things like that. And you can just kind of tell that it's not going to be a local spot. You know, a local spot most of the time isn't really going to care or kind of uh fluffy the place up in a way. And then the food can also be trying too hard. So I saw this a lot in Italy as well. The gelato is like looks mountainous. It's all these different colors. It's just a little bit off. You'll kind of get a gut feeling sometimes, maybe not, but just keep these things in mind. And then having traditional and authentic in the name. So if you are in Mexico and it says like traditional Mexican food, like that might not always be the case. You might, most of the time they're not going to have that in the name if it's just, that's the food that's there. So again, just keep these things in mind. They're not set in stone, but they're just little things to look out for and to keep an eye out for. Okay, post trip. So you just had an amazing vacation. You ate incredible food, had great experiences. Now you're like, okay, what did I do? Everybody's going to ask me where I went and what I did. So if you have that notes app, like I said, I will usually just star the places that I went to and then make a little note like didn't get to these places, but I definitely want to go eventually. I also like to take pictures of the food with the menus because sometimes I'll take pictures of the food or something like that. And I'm like, oh, where was this? I'm not really sure. So I like to just like put the menu behind like my meal or something like that. So, oh, this is where I ate. This is what I had. And then note the location. So where were these locations? Was this near this? Was this near that? So people are going to ask you, what area was that in or where was this? So it's a good way for you to remember and for you to let people know as well. And then add any new places. So while you were going around, walking around, did you see something that you missed or you weren't able to get to that you would love to go in the future? So again, you can pin that on your Google Maps, you can add that into your notes app, and just keep it organized all in there. Whatever way works for you. You can even do a Google Doc if you want. And then final thoughts, a hungry traveler is not a happy traveler. So do your best, but don't put pressure on yourself if you are just starving and you need to go to a McDonald's or you really want a burger when you're in Mexico or wherever. It's okay. It's fine. Just do your best and hopefully you will have amazing experiences no matter what. Thank you. That is the end.
Emily, that was amazing. I am starving right now. I'm sure it's dinner time for me here, or coming up to it. So I'm sure That's part of it too. But oh my gosh, now I want to go to all these different places and try all of this amazing food. It's amazing.
You.
If anyone has any questions from it, definitely drop them in the chat box and we can get them answered. We did have a couple come through, but I wanted to ask you first. I know you mentioned where your best couple meals were to date. Where was your worst meal? Did you ever have a terrible one?
Oh, there was a meal that I had in a very touristy part of Santorini, and it was like actually inedible, in edible. My gosh. Like I really couldn't eat it and I felt so bad. I think it was like a local, it was a dish that was trying to be like a local dish. I can't even think of the name of it right now, but yeah, that was a sad experience. I tried to branch out and then it just didn't work.
So I'm curious, do you feel like you've had more maybe negative experiences when you've been traveling to other countries just because you're not so, familiar with the food versus here in the US, since you've been to so many different states? I mean, I know it doesn't vary as much here in the US, but it does region to region. I'm just curious if you have found any differences that way.
Um, that's a really great question. I think I put a lot more pressure on myself to find really good food when I'm traveling outside of the States. So even when I'm traveling in the States and I have a bad meal, I guess it just like isn't like really registering that that's going to like ruin my time because I've had this bad meal or like ruin my experience so much. But I always think of it that way when I'm going to another country for some reason that like I mean, I guess it's like, oh, I'm here. I have to try this amazing food. And if I don't like that's part of the experience. But I guess if I was somewhere in the United States where you like really there was a specific thing that you really needed to try and I didn't get that. So I don't know. That's a good question though.
Yeah, it's just interesting to think about, right? Because we're more used
Yeah.
to what we have here. Um, so, real quick, someone was just asking, because I know I asked you what your worst meal was, but can you repeat again what your favorite was, just for anyone that maybe joined the call late?
My favorite meal ever.
When in traveling, yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. I feel like I have a lot, but most recently, I went to this restaurant called Soto in Cincinnati, and it was like probably the most amazing food I've ever had in my life. And I really want to say like somewhere out of the US, but I haven't traveled out of the US in a couple years. So I'm hoping to have a lot more yummy foodie experiences. But I had the absolute best pizza in Naples. So that was a good one.
Yes, I remember pizza in Capri for some reason, a long, long time ago, but I just remember it melting, like just literally melting in your mouth. It was so good. So
So good. It's so unique.
yeah, you can't go wrong with the food in Italy, though, I don't think.
Oh, no.
All right, so we had a couple questions about apps. So one was, I know you had mentioned Happy Cow. Alex was curious if you know this, if they do pescatarian, and if not, do you know an app that covers that?
I believe they do pescatarian. Yeah, I believe that's a filter option. From what people have told me, I don't know if it's something that you can search or if it's an actual filter option. But I know people who are pescatarians that have absolutely used it. So there must be some way that they can find out, you know, what's being offered. Um, so I'm not like completely sure exactly what that looks like, but I know pescatarians that have used it. So
Okay, perfect. And then Emily, I'll have you stop sharing your screen real quick just so we can see everyone. And and I'll do it again real quick. I have put your contact info in the chat box. So everyone, you can either just click on it there, you can save the chat box too for that. Okay, then we had another question about, have you ever used the apps where you're actually, getting to eat with other people and other strangers?
other strange,
Or just like other people when you're traveling, people that you're not with?
yes, I have actually used, I was in Barcelona and I used the, Airbnb experience. So I did like it was kind of like a food tour in that situation. And that was really fun. I did have some like very good tapas and things like that. Nothing like crazy, crazy memorable, but it was really fun. It was more of like a group setting. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet, but I've heard about it. And it just, I mean, just hearing from you too, it sounds like something that I definitely need to try on one of our next trips for sure.
Yeah, I've heard cooking. I've never taken a cooking class just because I'm not I'm not a great cook and I don't want to like bring down the room or like burn something. So I haven't done a cooking class, but I've heard those are really fun. Especially in places in like Southeast Asia. Like people have told me they're really cheap and they do one in like every country that they go to in Southeast Asia. So
Yeah, I was going to say we did one in Vietnam. I don't remember the price, but it was awesome. And I'll say for anyone that's a picky eater, it's great because when you cook the food, if you don't think you're going to, if you weren't going to go out to the restaurant and eat it, you're going to eat it once you've cooked it because you now know what goes into it. And it's beautiful what you've done. So yeah, definitely, I think try the cooking classes too. So we need to swap. You need to do the cooking classes. I need to do these other experiences. All right, we've got a question on what were some of the restaurants you enjoyed on your recent trip to Portland? Someone's asking because they go to Portland a lot.
yes. I have to get the name. The food carts were amazing. So I went to Nob Hill food carts and those were incredible. So I think there were like 6 or 7 food carts, I would say. So they have a ton of like different options. That was really great. I would definitely recommend that. I also went to that ramen place. I can't remember the name right now, but I wanted to go to Pine Street. I believe it's called Pine Street. And it's like a little food market, but they were unfortunately closed when I went. So I guess they had really, really good ramen there, and but they were closed. So I went to this place next door, and it was really good. I can find it in my phone and type it in the chat. And then obviously I went to Voodoo Donuts. It was good. It's very sweet, but it was good. And then I went to there were so many that I wanted to go to. I have this huge list and I didn't get to make it. I went for Women's Travel Fest, so I was there for a conference, so I didn't have like a ton of time. Life of Pi, I believe it's called, and that was a pizza place, and I had incredible pizza there. And then you have to go to all the coffee shops. There's so many. Three Sisters, I think it's called, and yeah, it's great. Breweries, you have to go to the breweries.
You did a lot. You fit a lot in for sure. It sounds like even being at a conference.
Yeah, yeah, I tried to.
Yeah, you got it. So it's perfect. Yes. And everyone, if you didn't get your question answered in regards to that, you can always follow Emily on all of the social platforms too. And hopefully some of her info is on there as well, which I'm sure. So we have another question about, have you ever tried regional foreign restaurant franchises while traveling? For example, like Tim Hortons in Canada or Culver's in the Midwestern US.
Oh, yes, I have tried some of those. There's also a place in, oh, I can't think of the name right now. There's a chain down south too that I tried. Again, I can't think of. So yes, I have done some things like that, like an In-N-Out burger or something. I'm guessing that's what they kind of mean. Yeah, those
Yeah,
are always fun. Those are fun to go to.
I forget about In-N-Out because we have
Yeah.
that here in California. And someone the other day posted it was their first time coming here and trying it. And I thought, wait, we're just used to it, right? It seems like second nature to eat it.
Yes.
All right, we've got another question on New Orleans. Someone wants to know, do you have any food recommendations there? Have you been there? And yeah.
Yes, I have. I recently went there in February. So I went to the gumbo shop. That was definitely my favorite meal. So I had a four-course meal for like $32, I think it was. And they have like a few options in each section. So you get a dessert, you get a starter, you get like some like bread and things like that. And then you get like your main dish, which I just got like a combo, like a Creole combo platter. And that was amazing. And I think I did have a photo of that on one of my slides. So I would definitely recommend that. Willie Mays is huge. That is fried chicken. If you like fried chicken, I saw that somebody posted about wrote about the Ruby Slipper. That's closed right now. It doesn't sound like they will be opening, which is really sad because it was right next to my hostel and I was so excited to go there. It's a breakfast spot. And yeah, I heard that they closed. So very sad. And then oysters, they're really big on oysters. There's a few different oyster places that you can go to, but those were really good. And then I'm trying to think, you have to try the beignets, obviously. So you can go to Cafe du Monde and Cafe Beignet. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There is a very, very famous place there. I again can't think of the name, but the woman just recently passed away. She was there for like 70 years. So if you just Google that, you can find that spot, and that's very, very famous. I just can't think of the name. It's a little bit more on the outskirts, so I didn't go to it. Um, but she's super famous, and she recently passed away in like 2019, I want to say.
Gotcha. Okay. Great tips. I have to say, I'm impressed you're remembering how much you are. I mean, they're just all the names and the places are different everywhere you go.
Oh,
Very impressive. All right.
well,
So Yvette has a question on, do you know if there are any tour companies that offer like overseas food centered tour packages?
I saw this question. I don't know any ones personally, but if there are some, I would absolutely love to go on them. But yeah, I don't personally know of any that are like specifically food based. I know ones that, because a lot of the group tours I have gone on, I haven't had the best food. Usually it's just kind of like a like bulk thing, or they like find like cheaper options. So I think that would be amazing to, one, I love group tours for meeting new people and you get like a whole new family, but then also you're actually going to have really great food. So it sounds good to me. I'll definitely look some up, but if anybody knows, ooh, Intrepid Travel has some food tours, and tours on I guess there's tours on TripAdvisor too. So thanks everyone.
Okay, perfect. So that kind of leads me into another question that we had based on these local food tours. Do you have any tips on how you would pick the better food tours or the cooking classes? Would you primarily look at TripAdvisor and those sort of sites, or?
Yeah, I always go for reviews. I also love if like I also love going on YouTube. I love kind of like visualizing the place. So if somebody has if you're looking at a bunch of different options, like you can also just go on to YouTube and see if anyone has like an experience. I don't know if you want to like actually see the experience before you have it, but it's kind of just a good way to visualize it and see, what they do. Like if you're actually going to be like really cooking, or if you're just doing a little bit here and there, or like kind of what the vibe is, what the tour is like, if it's casual, if it's more uptight, I guess. So that's what I like to do, but I always just kind of go for reviews, and I love to um ask people like themselves if I can. So always just knowing someone personally.
Yeah, that's a great idea, asking people. And I'm with you. I'm obsessed with reading reviews, and I really think you can just get a sense. I mean, you can tell if they're real or fake if you read enough of them. And people, the legit ones, they're going to give you the good rundown of what it is. So I think I
Mhm.
love that tip because I think it's important. You get a good sense of what people are thinking.
Definitely.
All right. So now we have a question for close to where you are. If you are near or know Pittsfield, Massachusetts, do you have any good recommendations in that area? I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, so I am from more like my hometown is more of like Williamstown, so definitely very close to Pittsfield. I don't know if I go to like great places where people would want to eat. Um, but there is a pizza place I really like. I can't think of the name of it right now, but Susan, I can always send it to you afterwards. Yeah, I feel like I get a lot of more like kind of like takeout places when I'm in Pittsfield, since I'm always just kind of like driving through, and I usually go to like hit like Lennox and things like that, and I have some more places that I like to go there. But I mean, there's definitely, I don't know of it as like a foodie town, so I guess there's just not anything like specific coming to mind. But they definitely have some good like Italian places that I know about. Um, Not like a lot of like ethnic food that I know about, but
Okay, we're just moving across the US. So then someone also wants to know about local good spots in Boston or Philly.
ooh, Philly. So I just went to Philly. I went to a place for their Philly cheesesteak and I loved it. I think it's called like Cleavers, and that was really good. I wasn't there for that long. I was doing a road trip with my boyfriend from Florida back up to Massachusetts, so we weren't there for that long. Boston, you just have to go to the North End. It's like some of the best Italian food I've ever had because sadly I just failed when I was in Italy. But it does like I mean the chefs there are incredible and many of them actually speak Italian. Like I've been trying to learn Italian for so long, so I will actually like will talk to them in Italian. Um, I have a North End bucket list and I have absolutely loved every place that I have been to so far. So I would definitely recommend the North End. There's also some cool spots in like Southie and things like that. I can't think of like specific names right now. Really good brunch spots in Southie. So if you like brunch, just look up Southie. Um, yeah, I went to the top of the hub was fun. That unfortunately just closed. But yeah, I'm really bad at remembering the names of restaurants right now. But if anybody wants to message me, I will find them for you and I will send them to you.
No, that's perfect. And like I said, you've remembered a lot. And then there are a lot of comments in here too about places that people have been as well that they
Yeah.
recommend. So definitely click on those three dots, everyone, and save the chat if you want to remember all of these places. So Emily, I'm curious, is there anywhere in the world, a different country or a different state that you haven't been to that you're really excited to go to try the food from that particular location?
Yes, Vietnam. I'm so, so, so excited. I just want to try everything there. So that is definitely my top. Probably Thailand too, but Vietnam is definitely my top.
Yay. And then you'll have to do the cooking class and then eat and
Yes,
do it
yes,
all.
exactly. Do it all. Yes.
That's amazing. I think I got everyone's question. If I missed anyone's, just jot it down real quick. But I think we covered everything. Like I said, we've kind of been all over chatting about all these different recommendations, which is amazing. I'm absolutely starving right now. It all sounds so good. Oh, and great. We have a recommendation of a place in Hanoi, hidden Hanoi. Oh, and the other thing, Emily, that we did in Hanoi is we did a food tour on a motorbike, on the back of a motorbike.
Woo!
So besides like cooking classes, you can kind of do it, different fun way to get around. So yeah,
Yes.
you got to go to Vietnam.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
You'll have a lot of fun experiences, I'm sure, coming up. Is there anything else you want to share with us before I just share a little bit more about the Nomadic Network?
No, I just want to thank you all so much for coming. Connect with me on Instagram. I'm on pretty much every platform. I do $100 a day challenges on my YouTube, which is really fun. So I have everything listed on there, like all the places I go for food, all my accommodation. So I try to do everything eat well, stay well for under $100 a day. And I will also be doing like $30 a day challenges in like other parts of the world where that is possible. So you can definitely follow along on there because you will see all the food places that I go to.